Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a map called Trial Mountain. If you've never heard of Trial Mountain before, it is a fictional racetrack from the Gran Turismo series. That means the only racing game you'll ever buy that includes this track out of the box is Gran Turismo and its spin-offs. Because unlike real racetracks, you can't just go to the people who actually own the track and say, hey, can we use your track in our video game? You'd actually have to go to Polyphony Digital and say, hey, can we use your track in our game? And they're going to say no, because they're your competition. Why in the world would you let them use your creation in their game? But with mods, it's a little bit of a different story, because the people who make the mods, they don't care, and Polyphony Digital doesn't probably quite care as much in this situation because nobody's directly making a profit off of this. Now, this track is not just like a port from Gran Turismo or anything like that. As far as I can tell, it is basically a full-on recreation of the original track. And if you wanted to get technical about it, it's actually a recreation of the R-Factor track that was a recreation of the original Trial Mountain. Kind of a funny thing. Now, both of those recreations were made by the same person. And a fun story about Trial Mountain is when Gran Turismo 4 came out, GameStop had a competition where if you were the fastest person to drive a specific car around Trial Mountain in Gran Turismo 3, you would win Gran Turismo 4 for free. Now, I had absolutely no intention of competing with this, but I happened to be there the day they were doing that competition. And I said, you know what, hey, yeah, I'll put a lap in, because at that point in time, it was early in the day and literally nobody had put in a time. So if I'm the only one who shows up, I get a free video game. So I throw up a lap, no practice at all, just kind of, doing the best I can with, I think it was like they used a BMW 3 Series or something like that. And I got an okay time, I thought. Turns out the next day I get a call, hey, you won the game! Even though a ton of people came in afterwards, somehow nobody beat me. Even though I wasn't even doing that good, nor did I practice or anything, I somehow managed to win the game for free. By quite a significant margin, apparently. I totally did not expect that, because there was a few weeks in advance where they told you, hey, this is the car, this is the track, get practicing, and I just absolutely never did. And mind you, this was a long time ago, so I was still basically a kid back then, which made it even more impressive, because you wouldn't think a kid would be able to do a racing game that good, but apparently I did. So anyways, that's a lap of the track using the racing version of the Pessima. We're going to go ahead and swap this out for something else. We'll do a SBR4, and we're going to get the hill climb version because we got to go fast. And there ain't much faster than a hill climb version of the SBR4, so I have no reason for this to go slower around this track than the Ibishu Pessima, unless, of course, I crash, which is a lot easier to do when you have a fast car, so I got to make sure I'm a little bit more careful on these corners, because there were actually a couple where even with the Pessima, I got a little close to the wall. Make sure to stay nice and center. That wing looks like it's almost vibrating as I went around that corner. That looked kind of funky. I don't know if it was just the camera was making it look like it was, or if it actually was right there. Right there, it looked like it's just shaking a little bit. I never actually noticed it does that under hard cornering. Aerodynamics, don't fail me. Keep me on the road. That was close. That was way too close. I wonder if we could actually hit those things that say like 25 meters until the corner or whatever on the tunnel right there if you had a tall enough of a vehicle. This thing, even though it has a wing that's like 10 feet in the air, not tall enough to hit those signs, because it's not technically 10 feet in the air. It just feels like it is because it's so absolutely massive. And right there, I didn't need to hit the brakes so early. I was just a little bit scared because I couldn't quite remember how that corner came up on you. Like, I see a hill, I'm like, oh no, what's above the hill? I don't know, just slow down. Like, I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, this is Trial Mountain. I know this track. I was thinking, oh goodness, just take it slow. Yeah, that's how you do it. Up on the wall and off the wall, maintaining as much speed as possible. And it looked like we just barely went through the barrier right there, so you could actually clip through some sections on the side. And I am very thankful for that fact, because otherwise my car would be totaled right now. Now we're going to be coming up to Trial Mountain's most famous corner. And I say it's the most famous corner because everybody who's played Gran Turismo has done this before, where you hit the corner in a specific way where it flings your car into the air. Now I'm going to do this the real cheesy way, where we cut across right here and then fly. That's always fun to do. That's one of the best things about this one. Now, you wouldn't believe how many races I would lose in Gran Turismo, because I would be just a few seconds ahead of the competition, and I would see the last corner. I'm like, oh, I'm going to fly. And I would fly, and I would crash, and then I would lose the race. Boy, was it frustrating, but boy, was it fun as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that one more time, just because I like that corner. And we're going to do this one where we actually stay on the road, though. Because if you were actually racing, you wouldn't just cut through the dirt right there. Then again, if you were actually racing, you also wouldn't fling your car 20 feet in the air and intentionally total it, but this is a video game. you can only be so realistic here. So we're going to try to stay on the road, and then floor it right here to get as much speed as possible and fly over that. Yes! Barely clearing it, but also totaling the car in the process. Now, you know what? We're going to do that one more time, but this time we're going to see, can we crash into the walkway right there, or will we fly through it like we saw on the other thing we hit earlier? And just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to grab the race version of the Miramar, which is a little bit slower, so I don't think this thing will be fast enough to accidentally fly over it. No matter what I do, I'll either crash into it or accidentally go below it. Hopefully that's not the case, and I'm able to maintain enough speed to do what I want to do here. So we're going to stay right on the outside right here, even bounce off the wall just a tiny bit accidentally. Cut through that corner just a tad, and then... okay, so we can crash into that. And we could actually do a pretty good amount of damage to the vehicle right there, even though we technically flew over it at the same time. Anyways, we'll just flip this thing upright. And then let's do this racetrack in reverse just because we can. I'm going to grab another car made for racing. Well, not quite made for racing, but it's a real fast street car. We're going to get the 2400 TIX TT Sport. At least I'm pretty sure that's the name. I kind of got bored halfway through saying it because it's so long. But you saw me click on the picture, so you know which car it is. And I wanted to do the racetrack in both directions because a lot of times in racing games you will do racetracks in both directions. And to me it's a lot more important to show off racetracks in both directions because they can feel really different depending on which direction you're coming from. Because you might have a hill going into the corner, or it might be you're going downhill going into the corner depending on which direction you're coming from, or it might be you have a really long straightaway going into a tight corner, or it could be a tight corner heading into that tight corner, so it generally just feels real different than the other direction. So if you're making a racing game and you want to make it feel like you have double the amount of tracks you actually have, what is the easiest solution? Just have it where you can also run the tracks in reverse, and boom. You just made it feel like it has double the amount of tracks that it had before. Well, maybe it feels like 1.8 times if you have things that are like oval tracks, because those ones in reverse really will feel the same because they're symmetrical. I mean, yeah, it's like, oh my god, turn right instead of going left. But that really doesn't change the way it actually drives. Unless you're a NASCAR driver, that might mess with you. Like, what? Turning right? What is this, a street course? And they're gonna crash. You know, I wonder. I don't pay too much attention to NASCAR, but when they have those ones that aren't ovals, are there people who win different than the ones who win on the ovals generally? Or are the people who are on ovals actually still the winners there? I mean, I would kind of imagine the people who win on ovals are just so good at ovals, but then you have some people who win on the street ones, and those ones are so good at the street ones where that's what they win at. Do they call it street? You know what I mean, though, where NASCAR is on a not oval track. Like I said, I don't follow NASCAR that much, so I don't really know all the terminology and all that for it, but you get what I mean, I'm pretty sure there. But yeah, driving this car in this direction, it is feeling pretty different, and I've really only know this track in the other direction. Like, I can't, you know, envision what's coming around the corner, so I have to be pretty safe on these corners to make sure I don't do anything dumb. We also have a pit lane over here. We could try to check this thing out. And then we're going to miss the jump, unfortunately, because of that. I didn't think of that all the way through, unfortunately. Oh well, we're going to just keep going, crash into a wall, and then we're going to do one more lap, and then we're going to hit the jump on that lap. So let's see, hitting this wall, and we actually got out of the track just a bit. I'm pretty sure we can hit those trees because those are normal BeamNG.drive trees, so you don't want to actually try to hit them. That little sign right there, however, it's a different story. I don't know if you could hit that. Let's just do a real quick test and find out. If you hit the sign, does it go through it? Yes, it does. Real quick test that also wrecked the car in the process somehow. Even though it doesn't crash, I still managed to wreck it. So let's do one more lap. This time we're going to take a car that is not suited for tracks. We're going to grab the dual-matic version of the Burnside and try to bring this thing along. And this is going to be the slowest lap we've done the whole time just because look at the car we're driving. Do you expect this to be fast? And if you said yes to that, I got bad news for you. Not every car from the 50s has magically been turned into a hot rod. Some cars still have their original 50s engine that barely makes any horsepower compared to modern day economy cars. So right here, 50 miles per hour, yeah, that's as fast as this car can go through this section. And with these white wall tires, you know they ain't grippy. You don't look at a white wall tire and think, oh yeah, that thing's gonna hug the road amazingly. You think, oh goodness, that's an old tire, that ain't gonna do good. I wonder if the game actually has, like, implemented the exact tire style from the 50s, or if it's like the modern tires that look like the ones from the 50s. Just kind of a random thought. I mean, this car drives so badly, I have to think This is exactly like the tire style you would find actually in the 60s, but I mean the 50s, but I just don't know. I wasn't alive, and I've never driven a car with actual tires from the 50s because, well, they're all degraded by now. You can't do that. It would be a death wish because the tires explode on you if you even found one that was still round. Because rubber does not last for 60 plus years. Yeah, I have to envision though, like this thing feels like it grips worse than if you put economy tires on it. Like modern economy tires. Oh, but going around that corner with the drifts! The accidental drifts, because I have so little grip, I just sometimes accidentally do that. You know, actually, when I get to the last straightaway, I'm going to swap this for something faster because I want to hit the jump in both directions. And I want to make sure I got some speed on me when I do it. I don't want to hit the jump at like 50 miles per hour. I want to hit it at 150 miles per hour. So after the next corner, basically, we'll swap it out because that's when we kind of need to start gaining speed for the straightaway. So like right here, we'll just go and spin this thing out and swap it for a bolide. And we'll grab the one with a big old wing so we can make sure we can fly better because you need wings to fly. Wow, stop sliding all over the place. So a little bit earlier probably would have allowed me to get some more speed, but I think we're still going to hit over 100, which is all I really care, is just hitting over 100 to be able to fly. So here we go, a little bit of slow-mo. And fly, bolide. Ooh, wow, that is flying. See, much more fun if you use this versus the bird side. And, ooh! Somehow we flew through one of the signs. I didn't think we were going to crash into the later ones, though. That was unexpected. So I think that about covers the racetrack itself, but there are also some secret roads around the track, and I just say secret roads because as far as I could tell, there's no legitimate way to get to them aside from teleportation, because you see routes that make it look like, oh, I could just do this to get to it, but then if you actually try to do that, you end up just hitting an invisible wall. For example, right here, boom, what did I hit? An invisible wall. And then kind of the same thing over here. You look like, oh, maybe I could go through here. Nope, that's an invisible wall as well. And all the ways I tried, invisible walls. So if you want to get to a secret road, you just kind of fly wherever you want to go and then hit F7 to teleport your car into that position. And then you can keep on driving on the roads. Now, these aren't really roads to drive on per se. They're more of just details to the background. Because when you're actually driving on it, you'll notice things like this bridge where, well, it's not actually a bridge. And if you try to drive through it, you just fall straight through it. And you'll also fall through the barrier right there because that's a one-way barrier. Technology that we have not yet mastered in real life, but in video games, yeah, that's totally possible somehow. And things like that really also show you, yeah, you're not supposed to be driving here. Like, why would there be a giant 1-foot drop in the middle of the road? Because it's just there for looks when you're driving around on the actual track. Same with those trees over there on our left. Those trees look really low detail because you wouldn't normally be driving this closely to them. You'd be a little bit farther away, and then from that distance, they look totally fine. And I'm actually super surprised I'm still driving right there. I thought for sure I was a goner after I saw my car start to flip. I mean, it is damaged, of course, but hey, if it still drives, we'll keep going. Like right here, this is also kind of awkward. How the road is going to go up on the hill a little bit, but then it doesn't. Like, what was that? And there are a few more secret roads, too, I think. I don't know if I'm going to bother showing those off because it's kind of more of the same here where it's like, what is that? Ooh. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. Into the hole. I just had to do it, man. You see a hole, you're like, I'm going to stick my car into that. The secret road dead ends just up ahead. I'm going to do a quick shortcut through here if I can control this thing. And then you kind of see, yeah, nowhere for the road to go. It's just kind of done. You can keep driving along the grass if you wanted to. Not really sure where you're going to go, though. Because then you kind of really get on the edge of the map. Like, you really, really shouldn't be in this section. Because right there, it still looks like a road, right? I mean, it still looks like something you could drive on. And it still looks like a map around you. But once you get up here, I'm pretty sure you're going to start losing that immersion. And you're going to really see the edge. Yeah, like right there, you see the edge. So I don't know why I'm even driving here anymore. Well, that was an interesting bump. Is that a cliff? I think that's a cliff off to our side. Like we can just dump the car off of a cliff. Yeah. It's just literally a straight down cliff. Anyways, though, I think that'll do it for this video. As I said, a couple more secret roads, like there's one right there. And there's a secret road right there, which we also drove on. So that's all there is. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.